Former Defense Secretary James Mattis spoke at the famed Al Smith dinner last night. It's an annual fundraiser where speakers deliver roasts. And Mattis took on the president after Trump called him the world's most overrated general during that contentious White House meeting on Wednesday.
I'm not just an overrated general. I am the greatest, the world's most overrated. I'm honored to be considered that by Donald Trump because he also called Meryl Streep an overrated actress. So I guess I'm the Meryl Streep of generals. And frankly, that sounds pretty good to me. And you do have to admit that between me and Meryl, at least we've had some victories. And some of you were kind during the reception and asked me, if this bothered me to have been rated this way based on what Donald Trump said. I said, of course not. I'd earned my spurs on the battlefield, Martin, as you pointed out, and Donald Trump earned his spurs in a letter from a doctor. So.
Wow. Oh, my goodness. All right. So Admiral Stavridis, of course, Twitter is all aflame at this. He should do more. He should do more. Yeah. Not everybody lives their life on a Twitter timeline. Yeah. Not everybody is captive to a 24/7 cable news cycle. Mm-hmm. I'd say that's a pretty good start for a general who said, I'm going to have my timeline, and when it's time to speak out, I will. Everybody doesn't have to be blurting everything out at the same time. Admiral McRaven, one of the most respected military men of our time, he came out yesterday and said the president wasn't fit to serve in the office that he served in. I think that's good enough for a day.
It's a pretty good day, and let's face it, of those two responses, the one I like is Jim Mattis, because humor has a way of working itself into the conversation. It's that kind of zeitgeist that we need. Both of those are appropriate, I think. Long term, we don't want to see lots and lots of senior retired military leaning into the political system. We are in extraordinary times. I applaud what my good friend Bill McRaven has done and my good friend Jim Mattis. Two different approaches, both very sensible.
All right.
Retired four-star Navy Admiral James Stavridis, thank you so much. His new book, Sailing True North,
what a great
10
book.
Admirals and the Voyage of Character, is out now. And after a quick break, we'll put more meat on the bones of all these huge stories, which, by the way, the day started yesterday with the gut punch of the death of Elijah Cummings. Yeah. It was an incredible day of news on all sides. We'll be right back.
Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.